Welcome to the second episode of the Dan Expedition. Here, we don't just explore festivals and events, as you've seen so far, but also the places that shape a city's character. And by places, I don't just mean monuments or famous landmarks. I'm talking about the streets, hidden alleyways, and even individual buildings, each with a story to tell. With a country like Japan, and a city as culturally rich as Kyoto, you never quite know what fascinating surprises you'll uncover. In the episodes to come, I'll take you through the vibrant market street widely known as Kyoto's Kitchen. We'll also explore one of the city's trendiest shopping avenues where tradition and modern flair walk side by side. And we'll visit an historic street that began its life as a simple temple town. Kyoto is one of those cities where every street tells a story. And today we're stepping into the street that started as a simple sandbank, became a riverside path, and transformed into one of the most happening places in Kyoto City today. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Pontocho. Pontocho is a narrow, approximately 500-meter long walkway. Running parallel to the Kamo River and located between the busy Shijodori and Sanjodori. With its upscale culinary offerings through its restaurants and tea houses, as well as its vibrant bars, make it known as one of Kyoto's essential nightlife areas. Established in 1670, Pontocho emerged from land reclamation efforts between the Kamo and Takazi rivers. With its emergence, it became a spot for travelers and merchants to rest when moving between Osaka and Kyoto, and from that, it quickly developed into a burgeoning entertainment district. The Kamo is also known as the Kamogawa River, which translates to Duck River, and the name Pontocho is said to be derived from the Japanese word cho, meaning district, with the Portuguese word ponte, meaning bridge, referring to its unique location between the Kamo River and the smaller Takazi River. In 1712, the shogunate granted licenses for the first ocheya, or tea houses, to open. It's said they began as travelers' inns with women serving tea to the crews of flatboats, ferrymen, and travelers. This marked the first steps of Pontocho's evolution from an entertainment district to a licensed pleasure district. Please be advised, however, that I have heard it said that the traditional tea houses here are often exclusive and require an invitation from an existing patron to attend. By the mid-18th century, Pontocho had grown into a thriving hanamachi. A hanamachi, meaning flower town, is a district where geisha and maiko, apprentice geisha, train and perform. On a side note, in Kyoto and Kanazawa, geisha are called geiko, both of which translate to person of the arts. In 1813, the street was officially licensed as a hanamachi, one of 5 such areas in Kyoto. Geisha continue to perform here to this day, making Pontocho a place where traditional geisha culture is still practiced as a living art form, rather than just preserved for show. In 1859, the area was officially recognized as a pleasure quarter, solidifying its status alongside the nearby, more famous Gion district. Though unlike the Gion district, Pontocho has always been smaller and more discreet. It's a place where art and entertainment were carried out quietly, behind sliding screens and no-ren curtains. No-ren are traditional Japanese fabric dividers, hung between rooms, on walls, in doorways or in windows. They usually have one or more vertical slits cut from the bottom to nearly the top of the fabric, allowing for easier passage or viewing. In 1872, one of Pontocho's most celebrated cultural events, the Kamigawa Odori dance, started as part of the citywide campaign to revitalize Kyoto's image and reassert its cultural importance after the capital moved to Tokyo in 1868. The dance features geisha and meiko and blends classical Japanese dance, music and kabuki-style theatre into a unique Kyoto-style variant. It's hosted annually at the Pontocho Kaburenjo Theatre in May and has become a highlight of the area as it's one of the rare chances for the general public to witness this elegant, highly disciplined art form that is traditionally reserved for private audiences. Kabuki is a classical form of Japanese theatre, mixing dramatic performance with traditional dance. It's known for its heavily stylized performances, its glamorous, highly decorated costumes, and for the elaborate kumadori makeup worn by some of its performers. Today, Kabuki is considered the most popular of the traditional styles of Japanese drama. And interestingly enough, Pontocho is said to be the location that it all began. In 1603 of the Edo period, a former shrine maiden by the name of Izumo no Okuni began performing on a makeshift stage on the dry bed of the Kamo River. Alongside a troupe of young female dancers, she created a new pantomime style of dance drama. In the earliest forms of Kabuki, female performers played both men and women in comic plays about ordinary life. And it didn't take long for the style to become popular, and Okuni was asked to perform in front of the imperial court. With such success, rival troupes were quickly formed, and Kabuki was born as an ensemble dance and drama. And today, a statue of Kabuki's founder, Izumo no Okuni, stands on the opposite side of the river in her honor. The history of Kabuki itself is interesting to say the least. It started as a performance conducted by women, who were then banned from performing by shogun authorities to maintain order, to be replaced by young boys who were then also banned from performing to maintain order. And following that, the modern form of the all-male kabuki actors, a style of kabuki known as yaro kabuki, meaning young man kabuki, was established. I won't get into the full history and explain why it was banned to maintain order, but if you're interested in learning more, please drop me a comment and I will try to follow up with a segment specifically focused on kabuki's history. In 1975, American anthropologist Liza Dalby immersed herself in the geisha community of Pontocho as part of her doctoral research at Stanford University. During this time, she was accepted into the geisha community and participated in the activities under the name of ichigiku. Though she did not undergo the formal rites of debuting as a geisha due to the temporary nature of her stay, her experiences formed the basis of her PhD dissertation and her first book, Geisha, which provided an in-depth look into the lives and culture of geisha in modern Japanese society. Now, Pontocho isn't just about geisha and performing arts. It's also a culinary destination. Walk down the alley and you'll find everything from Michelin-starred kaiseki and obenze to modern izakayas. Though the alley is only about 500 meters long and often barely wide enough for two people to walk side by side, it holds dozens of tea houses, restaurants, and inns. Most behind minimalist facades marked only by wooden plaques and lanterns. See, here, many of the establishments don't advertise themselves with big signs. Instead, you'll find wooden nameplates and no-rents concealing the entrances. It's minimalist, discreet, and perfectly Kyoto. In summer, many restaurants offer Kawayuka, also known as Kawadoko, and in Kyoto, it's specifically known as Norio-yuka, when along the Kamo River. Kawayuka is a more general term used to describe riverside dining platforms. From May to September, wooden platforms are built where guests can dine outdoors under the stars, cooled by the breeze while listening to the natural sounds of the Kamogawa River. See, Pontocho is said to be a place where wood and water intertwine. Part of its charm lies in its traditional two-storied wooden machiya buildings with latticed facades, earthen walls, and hidden inner gardens. At night, the street is especially picturesque, with its chidori-crested red and white lanterns illuminating the path, creating a uniquely Japanese atmosphere. The chidori symbol is a stylized water plover motif and the emblem of Pontocho. Chidori literally translates to 1,000 birds or plovers. The plover symbolizes perseverance, resilience, and the ability to overcome obstacles. It's also associated with safe journeys and family safety. The bird is often seen flying over waves, representing the idea of navigating life's challenges. Despite its popularity with tourists, Pontocho has resisted over-commercialization, and Kyoto City has committed to preserving Pontocho's traditional charm. From replacing asphalt with more authentic-looking pavement, to a 5-year renovation project that was completed in 2021 to move overhead powerline eyesores underground and reveal the alley's silhouette as it appeared centuries ago, as well as to safeguard its historic buildings from damage during storms. So whether you're here for food, the history, the performing arts, or just a quiet. If you left that segment thinking about how interesting geisha are, and how amazing it would be to experience the Kabuki theatre or see the Kamigawa Odori dance, well, you're an incredibly cultured person. If you left it thinking, it would have been nice to actually see the alley at night after it got really talked up, and all those added lanterns were a touch unnecessary, well, you know what? I actually agree with you. Do you know that lantern thing took like 2 hours for me to do? Now, I won't hide this from you guys. I'm a fan of castles. And given the chance, I'm going to relish exploring one. It's just one of the reasons why I made this channel. I also love nature and gardens, but I don't usually get to see both together. In this next segment, not only do we have an awesome castle for you, where we'll check out some of its architecture and strategic assets, but some stunning gardens, and some crows as well, or ravens. And on the side, some excellent noteworthy history, the type of history that involves the defining of an era. So get your pointy exciting hats on, guys, and let's explore Nijo Castle. Oh, and by the way, Jo is actually the word for castle in Japanese. So by saying Nijo Castle, I'm actually saying Nijo Castle Castle. Nijo Castle. Welcome. After the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600, Japan was effectively under the control of the Tokugawa family. In 1601, the leader of the family, Tokugawa Ieyasu, ordered all the feudal lords in western Japan to contribute to the construction of Nijo Castle. The castle was completed in 1603, and in the same year, Ieyasu was appointed Sei Shogun by the emperor. He became the founder and the first shogun of the Tokugawa Shogunate, and Nijo Castle is where he announced his appointment to the feudal lords of Japan and ushered in a period of over 260 years of peace and prosperity. Let's start with the Tonan Sumi-yagura, the southeast corner watchtower. Definitely one of the more well-known views of the castle. It's iconic. Probably the most popular selfie spot too, partially due to the fact you can view it from the outside without buying a ticket. But also because it's bloody gorgeous. With the blue sky behind it and the green moat below, that's castle porn right there. Originally there was a watchtower at each corner of the outer wall, and one in the middle of the north wall. With the 4 towers on each corner of the inner wall, the castle had 9 altogether. Some of which were dismantled, fell into disrepair, or were destroyed in the Great Tenmei Fire of 1788. Japan's history is marked by frequent fires, especially in major cities to the south. With dense urbanization, frequent earthquakes, strong winds, and a reliance on wooden architecture, even small fires could quickly escalate into major disasters. One such disaster occurred in 1788, known as the Great Tenmei Fire and the Great Kyoto Fire. It is believed to have started in the Imperial Palace before spreading rapidly and engulfing the city. The fire raged for approximately 5 days, and by the time it was finally extinguished, around 90% of Kyoto had been destroyed. Today, red buckets filled with water, often placed outside of buildings, are a common sight and serve as a visual reminder of the ever-present risk of fire and the importance of prevention. The watchtowers were used not only as lookouts, but as armories as well. Now, unfortunately, only the Tonan Sumi-yagura, the southeast tower, and the Seinan Sumi-yagura, the southwest tower, exist. This strong, imposing, yet ornate door is the Higashi Ote-mon, or East Gate, and it's the main entry to the castle. Originally, as it is now, it was created as a Yagura-mon. Yagura means watchtower and mon meaning gate. But when the emperor came to visit, it was altered for some time from a 2-story watchtower gate to a 1-story gate. This was done to ensure that no one would be able to look down on the emperor. The perimeter of Nijojo is 2 kilometers and has a total surface area covering a massive 275,000 square meters. In times of peace, the castle was guarded night and day by 2 groups of 50 samurai guards known as Nijo Zaiban. The castle consists of 2 layers of fortifications, both with an impressively large moat. The outer layer grounds holds 3 exterior gates: the kitchen, bansho or guard houses, 2 tea houses, storage buildings, numerous gardens, the shirashoin, the shogun's living quarters, and the Ninomaru Palace. Walking around the entirety of the castle, I can't help but be impressed. Not only at the immensity of it, but the workmanship, the style and sophistication of the buildings, their architecture and design. The Kara-mon Gate is a perfect example. The gate is used to indicate status as it leads to the Ninomaru Palace. The magnificent coloured carvings on the gate show cranes, pine, bamboo, and plum blossoms that symbolize longevity, while the carved lions protect the palace. Unfortunately, no filming or photography is allowed in either of the palaces, so I don't have any pictures or footage from inside. The Ninomaru Palace consists of 6 connected buildings with 33 rooms and over 600 tatami mats. And is archetypical of the Shoinzukiri architectural style. The palace is the only surviving example of a Japanese fortified palace complex and is designated a national treasure. It's built entirely of hinoki cypress, a very high quality timber which has a rich straight grain, is lemon scented and highly rot resistant. The palace decoration includes lavish quantities of gold leaf, elaborate wood carvings, exquisite metalwork fittings, with the doors and walls of each room decorated with paintings by artists of the Kano school. The Kano school was the longest lived and one of the most influential schools of painting in Japanese history. They maintained prominence for over 300 years, from the 15th century into the early modern era. Founded by Kano Masanobu, the school rose to dominance under his son, Kano Motonobu, and continued to thrive through successive generations of the Kano family. While originally a family enterprise, the school expanded to include many unrelated artists through marriage, adoption, or long-term apprenticeships, forming an hereditary lineage of professional secular painters. These artists operated in organized workshops and attracted elite patronage, including powerful daimyos, shoguns, and even members of the imperial court. The Kano school developed a wide range of painting styles and formats. Their work spanned from elegant monochrome ink paintings inspired by classical Chinese art to vivid, colorful compositions with bold outlines. One of their signature styles was designed for large decorative panels and sliding doors known as Fusama and Byobu, which became a hallmark of castle interiors during the Azumochi Momoyama period and into the early Edo period. The school's success lay not only in its artistic innovation, but also in its ability to adapt to changing political climates and patronage systems, effectively making it the backbone of official painting in pre-modern Japan. But the beauty of the castle isn't limited to buildings alone. The gardens here are remarkable and showcase true scenic beauty. The Ninomaru Garden was designed by the landscape architect and tea master Kobori Inshu and is considered a Shoin Zukiri-style garden, representing the world of Chinese mythological immortals, with a large Horeijima island symbolizing paradise, flanked by a crane island and a turtle island, both being metaphors for longevity. Ninomaru Garden received a National Place of Scenic Beauty designation in 1939 and a Special Place of Scenic Beauty designation in 1953. The inner layer has two exterior gates, the Honmaru Palace and its garden. There was also a 5-story keep in the southwest corner of the inner Honmaru area. However, in 1750, the tower was struck by lightning and burned down with only the stone ramparts that it stood on still remaining, which still offers very impressive views of the area. The Honmaru Palace was built for Emperor Go-Mizuno's visit in 1626, and along with the previously mentioned watchtowers was destroyed in the Great Tenmei Fire of 1788. The present Honmaru-goten Palace was originally part of the Katsura-no-miya Palace within the Kyoto Imperial Palace complex. It was moved to inside the inner moat of Nijo Castle in 1893. Its architecture reflects the traditional style of imperial and aristocratic residences, showcasing elegant sliding doors, intricate woodwork, and beautifully painted panels. Today it stands as a historically significant building, blending Nijo Castle's samurai heritage with the aesthetic of Kyoto's royal and aristocratic culture. The Honmaru Garden, as it appears today, dates from 1896. It's said the emperor provided instructions on what was to be planted there, while personally supervising the layout from the top floor of the Honmaru-goten Palace. The design reflects the mid-Meiji era vogue for Western-style gardens. The Se-ruin Garden to the north is nothing short of gorgeous. It's an eclectic fusion of Eastern Chisenkeiyu or strolling pond garden and lawn-covered Western-style gardens. While featuring classic Japanese elements like meticulously arranged rocks, lush greenery, and a tranquil pond embodying the refined style of Japanese garden design. The garden features two tea houses, the Kuon-tea and the Waraku-an. Waraku-an serves as a venue for tea ceremonies. It hosts the annual Grand Autumn Tea Ceremony, and at other times it serves as a rest area where the visiting public can enjoy tea. The Kuon-tea is normally closed to the public, but for limited periods in summer and winter it is used as a dining venue and sometimes as a venue for Nijojo weddings. In 1867, the 15th shogun Tokugawa Yoshinobu summoned the senior vassals from 40 domains to the Ohirama of the Ninomaru-goten Palace and announced the end of the Tokugawa rule, returning political control to the emperor and ushering in the Meiji period, during which Japan developed rapidly from a feudal society into the modern democratic nation of today. And thus, Nijo Castle not only staged the opening and closing ceremonies of the last period of feudal rule in Japan, but became the starting point for the creation of the modern Japanese state. Now before we end, I promised you crows. Yes, crows, I actually checked. To the south of the castle, there is a cherry and plum grove. And right atop the east gate entry to the Seiryuin Garden is a lonely grapefruit tree. And the area around it home to a murder of crows. The cherry and plum groves weren't in season when I went, so maybe that's why so many of the birds were here at this time. And pardon the pun, but this may be the only murder this castle has actually seen. As an interesting fact is that this castle was never actually attacked. In its history, no army ever actually attempted to invade or take it over. Wow, well, I hope you found that as interesting as I did. And if you did, and you'd like to hear more, specifically on the palaces of Nijo Castle, please let me know in the comments, as I may release a segment entirely on the Ninomaru-goten and the Honmaru-goten Palaces, where I can delve into details like the curious nightingale floors that chirp when walked on, the meaning behind the artwork and the history of the more peculiar designs, as well as the intricate political nature of the palace rooms, such as the Shikadai reception room and the Ohirama Grand Hall, and how they serve as an excellent example of social control manifested through architectural space in history. And with that, let's end for today with the extra. Honestly, I feel tired watching all the walking I did. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again in the next episode.
So I was passing by the street and I saw a donut creme brulee, and I'm about to dig into it. It looks amazing. Have a look. Right, here we go. That's good. It's crispy on the top, and there's this cream filling. So unfortunately I was a little bit hesitant to eat it because I thought it was going to be really hot, but I think I needed to dig into it a little bit sooner. It's still delicious. Oh, that cream filling. There's no good way to eat this. You're going to be a little piglet regardless. Absolutely delicious. Great breakfast to have, very nutritional. Trust me on that.
Shogun